How do you want to show up? What is it that you do in your business that you're really good at? That's one thing that you have to write down. The second thing is, what methodologies are you using that your clients love that you can duplicate, and start putting that down and recording it as part of your book.
Hello and welcome back. I could not be more excited about today's guest. Finally, we get to interview Cheli Grace, who is the founder of the Book to Millions program and the co-owner of Delian Origin Publishers. Her company was created to facilitate the need for others to have a streamlined process to bring together executive book coaching, professional self-publishing, and business strategy. She works with entrepreneurs, professionals, and service-based businesses, aligning their book with business strategy to create an impact, scale their business and brand, increase their income, and ultimately become the go-to expert. Without further ado, Cheli, thank you so much for joining us today. It's so great to see you.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you, Carlin.
It's been too long, and I love having this opportunity to connect with you. So I know a little bit about the background of your business and things, but I am certain our listeners would love to hear you share with us about your business. So share some of the details and give us some insight on how you decided to jump into this space.
I co-founded Delian Origin Publishers with my business partner and husband because of the need that I saw to help authors monetize their books, build their business and brand, and go to new heights with their business. Many times we see self-published authors struggle because they're not making any money from their books and they're not aligning it to their business. So what happened was that I basically saw the need. The publishing landscape has changed tremendously. I came upon this by accident years ago when I was a school principal, and I decided to write a book to share my expertise and knowledge with my parents. I've always been teaching others. I've always been sharing knowledge and wisdom. That to me is something that's very important. So I came upon this formula that I use today with my authors and my clients by sheer accident. And what happened was, because I wanted to share this message, I just started talking and going and spreading the book and the message so much that it ultimately turned it to its own. It took on its own life, and I created a 7-figure business over many years. But it was so award-winning for me and so impactful that once I left the education space that I was in, I said, this is something that I need to do to help others that want to get there in an easy way.
Wow. Okay. So let's back up for 1 minute. You just glossed over all of these accomplishments that got you to where you were today and all of these valuable learning experiences. So you stepped in and you were the principal of a high school, middle school. Tell us a little bit how you made the leap from being a principal to deciding parents need to know what kind of information that translated into a 7-figure business. There's a whole bunch of things there.
All the dots that we're going to connect today on the show. So I've always been very entrepreneurial, and I was a principal in what is now the 3rd largest school system in the nation. It used to be the 4th. But what happened was I was at a high school level, but I opened schools at K-8. So I was very cutting edge. I was one of 5 principals a while back that opened up one of the first 5 K-8s in our district. And then I was tagged to open up one of the first preparatory academies on 2 campuses. So I've always been out. I've always been talking. The school was always open. I always had the media in. And what happened was that there was a need for information. So this is what I want to tell the listeners, because a lot of us have so much information to share with others. And we always feel that everybody knows what we know, right? And they really don't. They really don't. We have our own skill sets. We have our own talents that, sometimes we need to record them in a book so that others can learn. So that's what I did. Out of just sheer willingness to help, I self-published a book. And that book then led me down a road of other books that then led me down another road of seeing the need because of everything that I did, it just started bringing in my ideal clients. It started bringing in more opportunities. And I opened a company. I was coaching and consulting parents on school choice options. I brought on a business partner and we really scaled the business. It was a ton of fun. And I realized the formula that it takes to not only have a best-selling book, but also to expand your brand and to go to new heights with a business.
That's fabulous. So I feel like I have a better understanding on where you were and where you are today and how you made this transformation into your own company at this point. And you had the tools and you have continued to cultivate those tools to share with others. So all of that, and we're going to touch on that in a minute. Tell us what you didn't know before going into business. What surprised you?
The need for my business model to be put together in the format that I put together to help others. Because what surprised me was, like I said earlier, a lot of times we feel that people have the same kind of information and knowledge that we do, and they don't. So even though I had company before and I transitioned, this is the second year that we're in business and we're doing really well. And I'll share that with all of you in a moment. But the thing is that when you transition, you realize, wow, you think that people know the process and they know what to do, but they really don't. So a couple of things that surprised me. First, the need for what we provide to others that really want to publish a book and monetize from it. The second thing was the amount of people that I tapped into from my network and my communities that helped me basically get to where I am right now. So those are things that were very important to me, and the masterminds that I joined as well that helped me scale.
That's fabulous. And I think we can all agree that, the power of your circle of influence, the networks, the community you surround yourself with, everybody is there for you to ask for help from, right? We don't have to know everything about everything right out of the gates, nor would anybody expect us to. And that's absolutely what I loved. How we met, Cheli. I love how we met through a network, right? Entreprenistas League. It's a fabulous network, right? That's so many beautiful relationships are built from that. I think there are many, many of our listeners out there who hope to write a book at some point in their life or career, right? To think, is that even a possibility? I know when I mention to other clients or individuals that I speak to on a regular basis, I say something about, have you ever considered writing a book? And there is a look of shock on their face more often than not, right? So for those of you listening right now, if you would raise your hand saying, yeah, that's me. If you're driving, don't take your hands off the steering wheel. But as you're thinking about writing a book, Cheli, are there things that you could give us, maybe the first 2 steps on what would we do? Like if this is even something that we would think through moving forward in this space? Any tips for us?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do have a win to share with you guys before I'm off, because it's going to be a big deal of a win. But the tip is this. A lot of times we overcomplicate things, right? We're so amazing at everything that we do. We're super women. We're moms. We have companies. We do all kinds of things. And then here we are. We're like, okay, I'm going to write a book. And all of a sudden you go into paralysis analysis. So first tip that I'm going to share with everybody is, how do you want to show up? What is it that you do in your business that you're really good at? That's one thing that you have to write down. Then the second thing is, what methodologies are you using that your clients love that you can duplicate, and start putting that down and recording it as part of your book. So I could have a formula that I create for my clients. So it's easy, because again, when we're not in a community, when we don't have the accountability, and when we don't have a roadmap to follow, it could be a little bit more challenging than when we do.
Those are great tips. And I cannot wait to continue to learn more, but you did drop a teaser in. So I am going to have to ask this question right now. I don't want to wait any longer. Please share your biggest win to date in your business. I can't wait to hear.
Well, the biggest win is all the amazing authors that I've published. To date, we have 11, but today on the podcast, we are pre-launching one of our very own Entreprenistas, Bethany Braun Silva, and her book title is Like a Mother. And I just love her book because it's Banish Guilt, Blaze Your Trail, Break the Rules, and Create a Life You Love. And what I love about Bethany's book is that she has interviewed some really amazing women, One of them, our very own Stephanie Carton, who is the co-founder of Entreprenista League. And we share stories. They share stories in the book, and they're raw and real. And the real deal as to all the challenges that we go through when we're trying to be super women and in the A game of our career, and we're moms, and all the little tips and tools that Bethany has put together so that we can create our own rules and say, you know what, I'm going to live my life to the best of my ability and have fun. So that book is coming out. I'm so excited with her. And I've made other collaborations as well with other entreprenistas, and you'll hear more about some of those books that are coming out. But I wanted to give a shout out to Bethany and to Stephanie, because Stephanie's story is in the book, and how her inspiration with her mentor of her and Courtney opening up the league for all of us, which, by the way, I joined as a lifetime because I love this community, and there's no way that I will never not be in it, right? I mean, we met, Carlin, and you and I have had some really great times. We've done some collaborations together, and that's what it's all about.
I love that. Actually, I just got chills. I can't even believe today you're doing the launch or soft launch, right, of Bethany's book, who is an Entreprenista League member. Stephanie is in the book. We all know, love, and think Stephanie is amazing. She and Courtney have done a tremendous job. I, too, joined as a lifetime member, so you're not going to get rid of me anytime soon either. And lastly, this is what it's all about. This is what you bring to the table. You bring such great awareness and celebration and the voices of those of us who want to get out there. You make it easy for us, which is exciting. Another celebration of an Entreprenista League member today is actually Ronica Cleary. She is a PR and publicist, and today is her 5-year anniversary of her company. These are so important for us to remember these milestones, to celebrate these. And now that they're being recorded on this podcast, they will live forever. So this is fabulous, Cheli. Thank you for sharing this win.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Timing is everything. And I don't always believe that it's serendipitous. I think it actually drops in for a reason. So I think timing was everything for us to finally connect on this podcast. Thinking about some of these tools and things that you use and you've figured out inside of your business to either be more efficient, to, be better at communicating with others inside of the business. I know there's a lot going on, and we wear many, many hats on all these days and weeks, and trying to juggle everything. Like you said, super women, right? So what are some of your favorite business tools that you use inside of your business that might be helpful to others that are listening with us today?
So my tool that I cannot live without is Dropbox, because that, to me, for what I do, right? Because all of us have different businesses, and some tools might serve us more than others. But to me, my Dropbox is where it's at. I collaborate with my team on Dropbox. My authors get their own Dropbox folder. And that, to me, has been a game changer, because everything is very compartmentalized. Everything is very organized. And when you're writing books and where you're creating a whole business strategy as part of your book, it's important to be organized and to have things in a concise order. So to me, Dropbox is a game changer. I have a team. So QuickBooks, my bookkeeper takes care of that. I do not want to do QuickBooks or learn it. Of course, we all go into Canva, and Canva's great, but I have my designer that works in Canva as well. But I would say Dropbox, and I've started using a little bit of Trello board because it's good to have like a storyboard. But basically, Dropbox is everything for me.
That's great to hear. And for everybody listening, I know there's a lot of different options within Dropbox, but if you can get really comfortable using Dropbox when working together with another professional like Cheli, it really does make everything much more organized. And they have so many wonderful tools inside of it. So thank you so much for sharing that with us as well. This is so exciting. So, okay, I like to shift a little bit. And of course, there has to, as you might guess. And for those of you who might know me, I'm very numbers oriented. I love dashboards. I measure everything, which a lot of people think can be really dry and boring. I try to make it not dry and boring. Of course,
you never make that dry and boring. You never make that. You do some really cool things with those numbers.
They tell me a story. So on that note, I like to have a little fun with our podcast as well. And I want you to visualize, I meet you on the ground floor of a big office building, and we get on the elevator together, and we're going to ride up to the 8th floor or the 10th floor. It depends. With you and I talking, it might take us up to the 10th floor. And what would be an elevator tagline that you would want to share with me that has nothing to do with work? I'm saying not your tagline that you would use about your business, but something that I would remember about you outside of work. What do you like to do? What would you want to share that you would say, that I would get off the elevator and say, I like her and I'll always remember her for X?
Okay, so because you want to know a little bit more about me, I'll tell you that I'm a tennis nerd. And what does that mean? It means that I started playing tennis a year and a half ago, and I'm getting pretty good at it, right? But I was never athletic. I was never into that space. But I love playing tennis. Now, I'm not that great. I'm a beginner, but it's just so much fun. And it really helps with my energy level. It helps, when you're having one of those days, it's like, wham, slam that ball, get that stress out. So I would say a tennis nerd.
I love that. And
Yeah.
I've got the visual of you slamming that ball across the net. And I can appreciate that you picked it up a year and a half ago and, that you're that involved in it and you've stuck to it and it is really kind of your outlet. So thank you for sharing that with all of us. I love learning a little bit more about you in that aspect. Cheli, I know there's a lot of things going on, a lot of buzz out there in the industry. And I know one of the trending topics and questions basically surround ebooks. And I would love to get your take on, sharing your knowledge and expertise through a book has really grown. And I'm an avid reader. You give me a list of books and I will get after it. I love reading. And so many of the books, even the one you just described in the soft launch today, I'm definitely going to get my hands on that. So I cannot wait. But tell us a little bit about what you think, in your opinion, on ebooks versus the hard copies. Any thoughts for us, or where to start, or what does the industry look like?
Yes, absolutely. So I've got some stats for everybody because ebooks are hot. And short ebooks are even hotter. And we still have the paperback. But right now, if you look at the landscape of publishing for 2023, self-publishing has really taken off, especially within the last 5 years, more so than ever. People are self-publishing more. You still have the traditional publishing houses, but that is still, you have to have a milestone to get there. You have to have your author platform. But right now in the United States for 2023, we're expecting to have a projected revenue stream of $14.2 billion in ebooks alone. And when I talk to clients, we always do, the paperback, the traditional, because people are still buying the paperback. A lot of us, I'm one of those. I do get my ebooks, but I love to get, especially my favorite books, in paperback. I just love the feel and the touch of a book. But with that, $23.9 billion are projected to be sent this year in 2023 on paperback. So the industry is huge. Ebooks are very well received. And I tell a lot of my clients, it's great to do ebooks because then we can get the EPUB, put it on your website, download it, and you're making money. So it's all part of your business strategy. Now, the average, and here's another thing, 67% of the top rated self-published books are written by women. Isn't that a great statistic? And the US, and guess the largest platform is Amazon. It's the largest worldwide seller. So we could write a book, put it on Amazon, and have worldwide distribution, and our books can go into the hands of somebody on the opposite side of our world, and they could contact us and become a client. So this is what I love about the beauty of ebooks and of paperback books. But ebooks have really taken off.
So would you recommend, Cheli, and I guess I have two clarifying questions for you, for our listeners who might not be familiar with the publishing industry. Can you just briefly explain what you mean by self-publishing versus non-self-publishing?
There's a lot of different traditional publishers. There's vanity presses. There's all different types. So the traditional publishers, when you think of a traditional publisher, you think of like Simon & Schuster, you think of Penguin, you think of Random House. Those are traditional publishers. I was published by a traditional publisher, which is Wiley. And they're a large publishing house out of New York, and they've been around for over 100 years. I'm not exaggerating. They're very entrenched in the education space. So once you're thinking about putting your book out there, then you want to say, okay, am I going to go with a traditional publisher, which a lot of times you have to secure an agent to go down that route? Or do I want to self-publish my book? There's pros and cons to all of it. What I help my authors do is self-publish because you have total autonomy of what you can do with your book. And I don't retain your rights and royalties. You keep everything. So I teach you the process. I teach you everything. And then I give you the keys and I say, okay, I'm still here because my authors will always be in my community and I will always promote them, but I'm here to help and guide you as you move along the way. So those are things that you need to see. Do you want to go the traditional route? And to do that, a traditional self-publisher, you have to have an author platform. You have to have a presence of how your books are going to sell. Whereas when I work with the self-publishing authors that come to me, we create that platform for them as we're writing the book. So you have to just weigh your why. Like I always say, what's your why? And what do you want to do? You know?
That's great. And thank you for that clarification. I think that really helps, I would say, create a lower barrier to entry for those who want to do the self-publishing. And you've given a lot of information there. I have one more question on the heels of that. Do you or would you advise starting with an ebook? Is this something that you would guide your clients to where they could just start with you said the smaller ebooks are even doing really, really well in the industry. Is that a good starting point for some?
Yes, it is. And since you're doing the ebook, you might as well do the paperback, right? And short books are in. A lot of people don't have time to read long books. And what I mean by a short book is like a 120-page book, which you're looking at around 25,000 words. And you're like, oh my gosh. So I look at books in a different way. I look at books by words, but I help our authors to get down that road. But if you want to put together an ebook, there are short ebooks that are like really hot right now. There's actually, if you go into Kindle, there's one called Velum, which is a short read. And some of them are under 15 minutes. So I encourage all of you that are thinking about putting an ebook together, go into Amazon, do a little research, look at Kindle, look at Velum, and then see what the industry is. Some of those books sell for 99 cents or $1.99. But again, it's about, like you would say, Carlin, compounding interest, right? If you have $1.99 and it reaches worldwide distribution and you have 1 million people wanting to buy your book, then figure out the numbers, right?
Yes. And I think it sets you apart also as a business. We use it as an asset in our business, whether it's a short ebook or the paperback or whatever scale that is. So that's fabulous. Cheli, you have given us so much valuable information, including if you ever do decide to write a book about being a tennis nerd. I love that too. Might be a fun title for you stepping into your next chapter.
That's true.
But having said that, where can we find you? Where can all of our listeners find you? How can we reach you and to see what you're up to and to grab some more incredibly valuable information?
Thank you for that. So you can find me on the Entreprenista League, on the League. And you can also find me on LinkedIn under Cheli Grace. I do have an Instagram page, Book to Millions or Cheli Grace Official. And I'll be launching my podcast by the end of July called The Book to Millions, the podcast. So we're going to have experts and authors, and I'd love to have some of our Entreprenista, one and only. And Carlin, I'd love to have you on to share your expertise because it's all about the business of books. When you write a book comes with a business. So that's how I see it, right? It's important to monetize your book. It's important to use it within your business, to align it with your brand so that you can scale new heights. So I'd love to get on calls with whoever would like to brainstorm. I'm here to help you. And we're all here to help each other. And that's why I just love the Entreprenista community.
That's fabulous. And thank you for dropping your big announcement about your podcast right at the end of our podcast episode today. Wow. That's congratulations. So many wonderful milestones that we've celebrated on today's podcast. And this is the absolute joy of what I get to do when I meet so many incredible female entrepreneurs and entreprenistas. And it warms my heart. And you're right. We are so supportive of each other. So Cheli, thank you so much. We'll put all of your contact info in the show notes so everybody will know exactly where to go to find you. You've offered some incredible tips to get everyone started to write their book. I can't wait to see what comes out of that. And we're always learning. I feel like I am learning every day. I've learned more from you today on this podcast. Once again, every time we talk, I learn from you. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been great to talk today. Don't forget to head over to entreprenista.com/join. I'm Carlin Bushman, and I'm here to help you put your best heel forward.